Hi, I'm Cindy Mattalucci, and you're watching The Pulse. I'm here with John Marquardt, sales expert, speaker, and author of The Grass is Browner on the Other Side. How are you, John?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm such a fan of the book. Now, before we talk about your book, I want you to tell the viewers a little bit about your background, because you worked in sales and management for 2 Fortune 1000 companies.
This is correct, and we actually worked together way back in the day. So, it's been a long time in sales and sales leadership positions where I'd always wanted to write this book. But when I got recruited to go to a Silicon Valley company was when it really became apparent that this is what I wanted to do. We were hiring millennials, and millennials are really smart, but they're playing on their phone while they're researching on their computer, and they're talking to their neighbor next door. So they're doing a lot all at once. And I created a library where I was trying to get them to read the books that I grew up on in sales, and they couldn't read the books. They'd make it 2-3 chapters and they were bored. So I wanted to do something different, and I quit my executive position and I moved to the island of Cyprus, and I decided that I was going to act out all my sales concepts through adventure travel.
Well, and I have to endorse John because we worked together at Paychex. He came into the company, the first year was Rookie of the Year out of 2,500 sales reps. I mean, killed it. You've had an amazing career. So you really have a lot to talk about when it comes to sales. But what I kind of want to talk to the viewers about is, how did you make that segue into being an author?
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. And the thing about the book is it's also kind of a self-help book. And the first concept of sales is you got to sell yourself on yourself. And whatever you're doing out there, no matter what it is, whether it's sales, management, leadership, maybe you're a nurse or a police officer, it really doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, you need to find what you like and what you enjoy and concentrate on that. What I found at Paychex when I was doing sales is I enjoyed coaching people more than I enjoyed selling.
Well, and let's talk about Cyprus, because not everybody can just quit and go to Cyprus to write a book, but the experience must have been fabulous for you. I mean, you were literally like a traveling salesman. So let's talk about that.
So first of all, everybody thought I was nuts. You've got a nice paid position where you're an executive of a company. You've kind of worked your entire career to get there. And I decided I was going to quit this job to become a writer, and I was not an English major. So before I left, I knew how I was going to write the book. I knew the concepts that were in the book. I had all the chapters. It was really just a matter of putting it together.
And now I want to kind of dive into the book, because it's not your typical sales book. When I got my hands on a copy, I was like, oh, like you said, is this going to be a boring sales book? Is it going to keep my attention? But let's talk about how you act out the principles with the book.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So it is interesting, and I call it accidental learning. That's my phrase that I've kind of coined, because part of why I really decided this was the right thing for me to do is, as I was coaching people in Silicon Valley, one by one, they said, no one's ever coached me like this. This is so different. And I would always be taking some goofy, random story that they were excited about, and I was applying the sales concept, but they didn't really know where I was going to apply the sales concept, and they accidentally learned along the way. And that worked really well with millennials. So I thought, all right, I'll do this with my travel concepts. So I actually teach, networking on a bus and jumping off of a cliff. And then I teach cold calling on a beach. And it's a different way of learning where you're kind of entertained, distracted by my story, and then I bring in the sales concept later. So
let's talk a little bit about the illustrations in the book. Phenomenal, because they were from a Cyprus artist.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, so as a local artist, her name is Penelope Constantino, and she was someone I met along my travels, and she had some amazing paintings, and I just got to talking to her and telling her my story. I ended up coaching her on her business, and it became one of the chapters. And I thought, how cool would it be to get all of my illustrations done and make it a part of my Cyprus adventures?
Well, and I really like the point, there is sales in everything that we do. I mean, you mentioned that earlier, and I think it's really important, whether you're in hospitality, you're a waitress, whatever you're doing, you're always selling. So I wanted to see if you could maybe give a tip to the viewers, something that, from the book that they could put into their life today to make an impact.
Yeah, so I think because we're always selling, the one thing that I really enjoy talking about is the millennial generation. And in some ways, I'm giving a sales pitch to the millennials out there that might not be taking their careers seriously. And what I mean by that is I think we have an epidemic in the US, and it's the grass is greener concept. It's where the title of my book comes from. We're constantly thinking the grass is greener. So we might work, and I'm part of the millennial generation, but the millennial generation might work 6 months at a job and be looking for the next best thing. Because the problem that occurs is you don't get to truly water your own grass. The grass is browner on the other side. It's a sales pitch of making your grass green. Water your grass. So the biggest tip I can give for the millennials out there, here's the minimum. I'm not asking hire to retire. I'm asking a minimum of 1 year. If you do a minimum of 1 year in every career opportunity you take, you'll achieve success.
So I love too that your true passion is sharing your sales practices through writing and motivational speaking. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you actually speak to viewers and to audiences.
I was at a conference and this guy came up to me and he said, "Hey John, can I buy you a beer?" Which the obvious answer is, of course, yes. So I said yes, and we walked over to the bar and he said, "John, you probably don't remember me, but you were flown into Rochester, New York to coach our class, and the very first thing you said is that if we followed exactly what you planned out for us, that we would be at this conference trip with you." And he said, "I like what you had to say, and I just decided right then and there I was going to follow everything you said over the next 2 days." What it taught me back then is it taught me I don't need to reach everyone. If I reach one person, if one person watching says, "You know what, sticking out my job for 1 year is a good concept," and that helps them, and it helps effectively change their career path, that's exciting for me to be on this show today.
Well, and something that I took out of the book, and I know you and I have had these conversations, is entrepreneurs wear so many hats and they kind of forget that at the end of the day they need to bring in revenue for their business. It's so important. I mean, I've been guilty of that, and I took that tip out of your book. I thought that was really great, and I think that a lot of viewers can learn a lot from that. And you need to get a copy of this book. So tell everybody where to get their hands on this or to hire you if they want you to speak.
Yeah, if you go to grassisbrowner.com, you can buy the book there, and you can reach out to me there as well to hire me for any speaking events that you have for your company, or any sort of speaking event where you'd like to bring me and get me involved.
And the book is on Amazon as well, but go to grassisbrowner.com. Thank you so much, John. You were awesome to be in studio today, and we had such a great time.